Hello and welcome to Nintendo Pals Podcast. Tonight we are joined by the fantastic Barry Carenza from Premium Edition Games, as well as Nintendo Fuse and several other ventures and spaces online. We're going to be talking about the latest games coming to Premium Edition. They just had a direct. These are a blast to watch, and I'm excited to talk about these games with Barry himself. So Barry, you ready to jump into it?
Absolutely.
All right, let's cue up that intro. Greetings, fellow Nintendo pals. It's me, Andros, one of the hosts of the Nintendo Pals podcast, the show all about Nintendo and friendship. And I am joined not by Micah, because Micah is out on vacation, but I am joined by Barry. Barry is joining us from the Nintendo Home Center up there in the fantastic state of New York. Barry, how are you doing? It's been a bit.
I'm not in New York.
You're not in New York? You're close.
I am not in New York.
You're close. You're
close.
across the border
I'm in
by
New
just
Jersey.
by a hop skip. Listen, man, this is geography from Andros. It's the top right corner of the country is New York.
That's it. Just the entire thing.
Man, yeah, this is my bad geography. But Barry, I haven't talked to you since you had a baby. You started your own family, and, well, added to the family. You guys have been together for many years. But, man, just how are you doing? How is life?
Life is great. I mean, I just celebrated 10 years married to my wonderful wife, and we just had a baby who's now just over 3 months old, 15 weeks old, and it's been fantastic. It's it's a new chapter. It's something and wasn't sure how it was going to work, but it works, and it's great. And, this is just the beginning of a very epic, uh, you know, journey filled with hardships as well as wonderful times. And I've heard different things from different people, but
Lack of
I've
sleep,
experienced different.
I think is how I describe
No,
it to people. You guys have been
no,
having good
my
sleep? That's
my
so nice.
baby is amazing. We put him down usually between 10:30 to 11:30 at night, and he gets up anywhere between 7:30 and 8:30, 9 o'clock in the morning.
That's fantastic. Wow.
So we are very, very blessed.
Yeah. Well, I was talking with you a bit about this on Discord, but just like uh this kid's going to be a very lucky kid, especially if he is into the Switch as he gets older, because you are, as we were talking before we even started recording, you are one of the few to have a complete physical collection for the Nintendo Switch.
Thus
Uh,
far, yeah. It's getting harder and harder to keep up with it because there's just so many releases every week. It is crazy, but doing my best.
yeah, and you know what? I hope that someday you get to open a museum with every game title that came for for the Nintendo Switch. But in addition to being a collector and a Nintendo fan, you help run Premium Edition Games, which we've had you on the show several times. It seems anytime you guys have a direct, you make the podcast rounds. We need to have you on not for one of those.
I keep
That's on
telling you that.
that's on me. That's on me. I'm bad at getting guests. But tell us a little bit. I guess give us the synopsis of what Premium Edition is and what you guys are doing, and then let's talk about what you got cooking for this latest direct.
Yeah, sure. So we are a physical publisher for the Switch as well as the PlayStation 4 and 5. We take digital only titles and we release them in high quality physical releases. And we've noticed each year there's just more and more games coming out digitally and physically, but definitely digitally, way more digital. And there's so many games that kind of get lost. They just like they don't they don't catch with the crowd, so they just sink to the bottom of the eShop, and they just don't do well. No one's heard of them, and we hate that because there's some really great games that most people have just missed. So we try and do our best to find some of these games and say, hey, this game is great and no one's playing it or very few are playing it. And we want to be able to take it and give it a new life and give it a physical treatment and give it the spotlight because we only release a few games every year. Uh, any game we release gets that seal of approval. It's something that we've played, we've tested, we loved, and we think everyone's going to love it too. So we hope, you know, because of that, you guys, everyone listening, and just gives it a chance and gives it a try.
Yeah, and I mean, it's really cool, especially because in a lot of these cases, like you said, these games would not otherwise have a venue for physical releases, and it gives them a second life.
Hmm.
And that's just really cool for collectors as well as for people that maybe missed the game on its original release, or I think you guys do a great job of essentially sifting through the bazillions of games that come to the eShop every day and
Yes.
finding the gems, the ones that really deserve that publishing space, and that is super cool. I think that's probably like one of the biggest benefits to going through Premium Edition, to look for games to get. You know.
Yeah, it's tough. There's almost an infinite amount of games. Like if there are no new games anymore, and you played games every day for the rest of your life, you're not going to be able to play every game that exists. Like it's just at least not to completion. I mean, maybe you could do like 5 seconds of each game. Sure, maybe you'll get to it by the time you're 90. But it's just one of those things where we really want to highlight games that resonate with us. And all these come from very talented and dedicated developers. And we have some great digital publishing partners as well. And we really want to highlight that, focus on that. And like you said, give these games a second life
Hmm.
and, do it in our own special way.
Yeah. Yeah, it's so cool. It's so cool. Well, with that introduction into who Barry is, if you guys haven't listened to previous episodes, or check out your own podcast, which is Nintendo Fuse is it, and then you also have Premium Edition Cast, which, but check those out. You get a look more into the character of Barry, and you can kind of see that his soul is in the business of Premium Edition games as well. For better or for worse, huh? They've taken you and given this is fantastic stuff. So let's talk what's cooking. Let's talk what's cooking for this latest direct for Premium Edition
Yeah.
games.
Well, first I got to ask, did you watch it?
I did. I did. I
And what
skim
was your
skim
thoughts?
watched. I did not get a chance to watch it live, so I apologize. I know he
You
even sent me a
skim
note saying, "Hey, can you watch it live?" And I was like, I was
You
I
skim
was
watch.
tied up.
That takes 2 months of writing and working with developers and my editor and piecing it all together so it looks really good and
Do you
you
make
skim
them
watch.
all? Do you make them yourself? Is it like mainly
Uh,
you?
w- I write the script and then it gets proofread, and then we have a wonderful, talented video editor, Tristan, who works with me. It's kind of like making a little movie. I'm the director; he's the one piecing it together, and we work together to piece it together with everyone doing the recording, and I'm the one going out and talking to developers and getting the trailers and getting them to comment and get videos from them and working with him to piece the whole thing together. Yeah, it's a big production actually.
It is.
It's a
It
labor
is.
of love.
I mean, if you guys haven't checked out any of the premium edition directs, these are I would say on par with something like a Nintendo Direct. Maybe not quite as like high budget, but maybe something more akin to like the indie showcase, right? It's on par with
Yeah.
that, I'd say. Um, so in this uh in this round of announcements, you guys
Hmm.
you guys kicked off talking about games that were already announced and given
Yeah.
updates and news on those coming. But let's talk about this first game. And I feel like I'm going to pronounce it wrong. So maybe I'll just let you say the title of this game on
Anuchard.
Anu Chard. Anu Chard.
Yes.
I yeah. So Anuchard is a Zelda-like with a fantastic, beautiful, kind of like retro bit art style. That
It's like Moon RPG. If you ever played that.
that's a good way to describe the art style. Yes, it's like Moon RPG. Uh, it is a top-down dungeon crawler, Zelda-like,
Yes.
and
With the humors like the Mother series, if you've ever played that, Earthbound, if you like that style humor.
so excellent writing mixed with an excellent art
Mm.
style. What made you guys go with this game over? Because there are a lot of Zelda likes. What makes this one stand out?
This one just captivated us. So you have this really interesting world where it's like post-apocalyptic, and people's souls are trapped in this dungeon, and you got to go into this dungeon to rescue their souls by, some are from defeating a boss, some are hidden through puzzles like within different floors of the dungeon. And as you rescue them, you kind of bring them back to life from like a stone statue state, and then they populate the town, and they give you quests, and they add their own quirky features to it and their characteristics to it. And the more you get in collectibles, there's like a skill tree that you can constantly upgrade. There's food you can get to cook food to give you different effects. And you starts off just, hey, I'm going to this one dungeon, this is pretty cool, it's changing every person you go to rescue. The dungeon changes based on their life a little bit, and you're like, all right, this is pretty cool. And then it's like, oh, there's more than one dungeon, and you're going through, rescuing all these different people, and you start piecing together the history of this world of Anuchard, and what happened to it. And the different people, some are hesitant to dig up the past, and some have forgotten, others are, like, vocally against what you're doing. And it's just a really cool world, and it plays well, and it has one of those difficulty sliders that I absolutely love. So if you really love grueling Souls games, you could turn it so you get double damage, and really crank up the
Love,
difficulty, or you
yeah,
could turn off the difficulty entirely. Like, you can make it so you take no damage, and you could just be like, no, I want to experience the story. I want to focus on the puzzles of the dungeon without worrying about the combat as much.
nice to
And
have the options. Like,
you have the option,
and not even
but it
AAA
plays well.
games can do that in all their games, and
I
yet,
know.
and yet here we have it
Like,
in this. Yeah,
options are always a good thing, I say. And the combat just feels good. The puzzles are smart. You never feel like completely stumped, like, oh, what do I do? Like there are enough that you could figure it out and then execute it. And it's one of those games where you'll play and you'll be like, oh wow, that was pretty cool. Like, oh, what, 3 4 hours just went by. Oh my God. Like, I just got sucked in. And that was one of the reasons. It pulled us in. And it's, as a Zelda fan, it was like, we have to do this game. This game is so good.
yeah. Uh, well, then I gotta ask, since we're on the topic of Zelda, how did you enjoy Tears of the Kingdom?
Loved it. Absolutely loved it.
Loved it.
It was truly amazing.
It's so good. It's so good. Uh, and I think there's an itch now for a 2D Zelda. It's been a long bit.
Mhm.
I guess we did get the remake of Link's Awakening,
Yeah, that was a
but
while ago.
there's definitely been a surge in popularity of these kind of top-down Zelda likes that, uh, and that's because there's a void Nintendo isn't filling with
Hmm.
Zelda, and you can fill it with Anuchard.
Absolutely. No, Uncharted is. If you love Zelda, like, it absolutely is a game you need to check out.
Alrighty, well, what game would you like to talk about next? Coming from the from the direct? I guess you want to
Oh, we
go in
could. I mean, we
order.
could stay with. We could stay with. Do you want to stay with Switch, and we do the Switch first, and then we can go to like NES and PlayStation
Sure,
and stuff
sure.
like that. So going on further with the Switch, we've got a Kickstarter that we did for a long time. We did this Kickstarter back in 2020, and we've been teasing it every single direct. We've been giving updates, and finally, it got ported. We're waiting for the porting process. So we had to, thankfully, good friends, Paul over at Fossil Games was cool enough to do the reveal and have fun with the video to reveal that it is, in fact, part of Series 7. It is coming out. Pre-orders are opening on the October 30th for the game, which is Sunshine Anthology.
Sunshine Anthology. So so tell me about the like process here from going from Kickstarter to where it is now to be announced. Like
Sure. So
why what why does it take so long? I know this is kind of going to be like that's a loaded question, so I don't want to.
sure.
I'll give you a little guidance here, but like what's the difficulty in getting something like this to happen from point A to point B, where we're now able to
Well, we did.
go pick it up?
We were part of the Kickstarter, right? So we did the physical tier of the Kickstarter, and the Kickstarter was a success. But at that point, we're not involved in a sense because now the game has to be developed, and the Kickstarter was for the game Sunshine Manor. And what we said is, well, there was a previous game called Camp Sunshine, and if we're going to do the physical, let's do the physical for both games and put both games on the cart. So you're actually getting two games in one. And because the Kickstarter was a success, Fossil Games went on to develop the game. And then when they finished the game, I think they finished it in either late 2021, maybe 2022 they finished, but it was only for Steam. They finished that and they used an outside porting house to port it to the Switch and to other consoles. And that other porting house was having difficulties and taking their time. And, at this point, it's the porting team. It's nothing we can do. And we don't want to take money until it's ported. Like
Right.
outside the Kickstarter, which went to Fossil Games, not us. We were like, well, we want to, you know, before we take money, we need this to be ported. And so it was up to them. And once we got the green light saying, "Hey, guess what? It's ported," we said, "All right, well, this is the perfect series to put it in because of the Halloween. Right before Halloween, because the Sunshine games are 16-bit style RPGs, but horror RPGs. Camp Sunshine takes place in a camp, very similar to Friday the 13th, and then Sunshine Manor is more like Resident Evil in a manor with a bunch of spooky stuff, not just zombies and stuff. And great stories, fun gameplay, very well reviewed. And it's great that we could take the entire collection or the entire anthology and put it together in a cart, all physical.
Yeah, yeah. I think that you're getting like a really good deal with it as being it all bundled together. 'Cause it's just yeah, it looks awesome. Is where I'm going with it. Is yeah, it's one that like I didn't pick up originally, but heard just tons of good things about. So great to see it coming physically all in one anthology type collection. Uh,
What I like is that we have the artwork from Graham Humphreys, who did a lot of classic horror movie posters. He did a poster for each game, and like our retro boxes, one side is for Camp Sunshine, one Sunshine Anthology, and we're doing a steel book with our deluxe and the guide. Like we're using that art in a few places. We don't usually reuse art, but that art is so good that we're like, all right, this needs to be showcased because it's by a horror legend.
yeah, it is really cool looking. Got the and I love the like, gosh, I don't know the symmetry between the two, like standing
Hmm.
side by side, where you've got the like creepy ghost lady in the one and the evil mascot bear thing that's in the back of the other, and it oh man, it looks so good. So yeah, this is perfect timing for Halloween time. So everybody should check this one out. Um, I
Absolutely.
I want to talk about Lonesome Village. This game looks
Yeah.
really good. This
It
game
is
looks
really good.
it is really good. Now we got it's it to me kind of like is this blend of a lot of these kind of like cozy. The way people describe it, it's like this new genre of cozy game, and it's
Yes.
this kind of blend of Animal Crossing and Zelda
Hmm.
into
Hmm.
one game, which, hey, that's like firing off all of my Nintendo fan receptors, right? um, so tell us about Lonesome Village, I guess.
So yeah, so you play Wes the coyote who arrives at Lonesome Village and there's no one there. And there's this mysterious tower. And when you go into the tower, you have to complete it floor by floor, and each floor has different puzzles. And you got to solve the puzzles. When you do that, you start to rescue the villagers. And as the villagers get rescued, they go back to the town and they'll start giving you quests and populate and allowing you to take a break from the tower and do things like gardening and fishing and decorating your house and all those nice cozy things and helping out the different citizens. But then inside the tower, you have all these mind bending and puzzles and very Zelda-esque,
Mm-hmm.
trying to figure out
A
how
Zelda
to
dungeon.
solve to keep going on. So you have this giant Zelda dungeon with Animal Crossing, village at the base of it, and it blends it all really well. And it's like this nice cycle of gameplay where you're not really doing one thing for too long, but you can also spend a little more time, doing what you want to do. But you do kind of have to dabble in everything to get the most out of the game and solve the mystery. Like, why are all these villagers trapped in this tower? What happened? And there's a whole overarching story about what's going on with the village, which of course I won't spoil, but it's something to experience for yourself. And it is a game unlike others because of this blend. It's like it just caught us all by surprise. Like, this is really good. Like, we were not expecting this, and this will fit a nice, uh, you know, kind of, it's a genre we don't really have in our catalog. So we're like, ooh, we can get that, but it's still it caters to the cozy, but at the same time, if you're like, I'm not really huge into cozy, but I love puzzles, I love Zelda stuff, it'll cater to you as well.
It in that sense has like I hesitate to make this comparison, but you've got like Cult of the Lamb, which was a
Mm,
recent big indie title that blew up. That was basically a blend of Animal Crossing type village with kind of I don't even know how you describe like the fights of that game, or more kind of Dark Soulsy, but it's like a
mhm.
combination of two titles in a way that hits both in a satisfactory way. But the difference here
Yeah.
is that this game is happy and nice.
Yeah.
And doesn't make you feel like like gross. but
Oh,
uh but
no,
yeah,
it does make you feel gross, but there is something dark going on too. I have to figure out what's going on.
all right. I'm excited to pick this one up. Lonesome Village. Uh, and pre-orders for
Yeah,
that
Lonesome
go
Village
go
was
live
the
uh
16th of
the
October.
16th.
Yep.
Another one that I thought was interesting was Carl. That
Yeah.
is coming to Switch here. Little robot, and this one's really sported by Nintendo over on YouTube.
It's not just supported. He's one of the creators. Him,
Yes,
him and Matt Bittner of Morningstar Studios created this, and this
and so
is a game that.
this is your
Go on.
guys' second. Well, I maybe more than this, and I'm just not paying attention. But you kind of you paired up with a YouTuber, gone game developer for Poglings. Saying
Poglings,
that?
yeah, Chad Tronic.
Chadtronic, and so this is like, is this becoming your guys' bread and butter? You guys find these like, because these are fantastic games. First off, because
They are.
these are made by very passionate fans of Nintendo. His name is Nintendo. So I
Yes.
have to give mad respect to him just for the name, right? But yeah, this game looks to be like a really fun platformer that kind of has. I get like Paper Mario humor if that
Hmm.
rings a
Yeah, so
bell or resonates
got
with
a
you.
great amount of humor. It's got Mega Man aspects where you beat
Mm-hmm.
the bosses, you get abilities. It's got, it's platforming, so there's different objectives in each level to try and find and collect everything. It's got retro games, their own spin on retro games that you could go into the arcade and play. There's even robot puns, lots of robot dad jokes are in this game. There's a lot. This game is incredible, and we've been with this game since it came out. Matt is a good friend of ours who did Robot Named Fight, and we did a Robot Named Fight with him. So when this game was coming out, we're just like, all right, we absolutely want to work together. And he had such a good experience with Robot Named Fight that we had a call with him and Nintendo, and he was showing Nintendo Robot Named Fight, like the physical. He's like, here's what Premium Edition did. And Nintendo was absolutely sold. Like, yeah, this looks great. Like, let's do this. But it was one of those cases where we found out that the game wasn't done. Like the game is finished, but they're adding free content. Drew and Matt are working on free content for the game to expand upon it. And we always do our best to release a game when it's complete. So we told
Yeah.
them we're signing the contract. We absolutely want to do the game, but we also want to wait for the game to be complete so we can have the whole thing preserved. And they were both 100% on board with that because we did the same thing with Robot Named Fight. So we're announcing it now as it's not part of Series 7, is a tease for 2024. And it's slated for Series 8. It would be nice to put it in Series 8, but we can't even say that because if Drew says, hey, guess what, this is taking longer to get this content, we will push it, and we will push it because we want to make sure this game is complete on cart, and it's so good and well worth it. And
Well, just
video
tell him he's
game
got to get
preservation
it.
is important.
He's got to get it done before Switch 2 comes. Or are you guys
That's
going to
all
be
right. I
putting it
have a
on
feeling
Switch 2?
I mean, anything's
Insider
possible.
information from Barry here.
Anything is possible, but I have a feeling I'd be very shocked if the Switch 2 is not backwards compatible. Like it's just
Hmm.
that would be such a huge missed opportunity. And I don't see why. I mean, they did it with the DS and the 3DS with the
I
same
hope
cartridge
for the
slot.
sake of your collection, Barry, like just for you, I hope that it's backwards compatible. But yeah, I
Hey, it could be a
totally.
separate cartridge slot, like the DS had a separate cartridge slot for the GBA,
I
so
loved
anything's
that.
possible.
I love that. And then they just took it out for the 3DS for seemingly no reason. It was like, I mean, why can't that be also but whatever.
At
Whatever.
least it had DS backwards compatibility,
Yes. Yes.
so at least had
Um
that.
so with and you talked about it here with premium edition, you guys have always had the philosophy of like the game needs to be complete on cart. So if you guys are aware of any development happening to the game, you will wait until it's fully completed for all of that extra content. And so that's something that, like, to anybody out there listening, that if you're concerned about that, I mean, you just don't have to be with premium edition. Like the games are complete on cart. You're not
We
gonna,
do our best to do that. Yeah,
yeah, you're not gonna
we
have
we
these. What was the game? Gosh, I'm blanking on which game it was, but it was like it came with a cartridge, but the whole game had to be downloaded.
Oh yeah, it was one of the 2K games, like XCOM
It
did
wasn't
that. I
XCOM.
think
It was
Borderlands.
it was the vampire Nazi game. Mm, kind of Doom esque.
Yeah,
I'm blanking on the title, but I can't remember.
Oh,
Someone
Wolfenstein, right? Oh,
Wolfenstein. Thank you,
yeah, Wolfenstein.
Wolfenstein.
That was it. Yeah,
I was like, someone
yeah.
out there screaming at me and they're listening to the podcast is like, he's talking Wolfenstein. But yeah, like Wolfenstein, I think was the one. Well, Wolfenstein 2 was like, you had to download the entire game. Nah, nothing like that here. I mean,
We do our best. We can't say that they're not going to find a bug, like a year down the road or something and patch. Like that's something out of our control. But we will always do our very best to ensure. And we can't say guaranteed because there's always going to be exceptions. But we try and do our best to make sure that the entire game is preserved physically. That includes free DLC like Carl or Robot Named Fight. as well as like Wonderling as well. We did that, or even paid DLC like Mighty Fight Federation and Rain on Your Parade. We'll always strive, and we tell developers that we will push back and hold on to a game until it is complete for that very reason.
Yeah, and it's awesome. It's super cool. So okay, moving along here. I know I'm jumping all around here with games to talk about here, but this one surprised me to have shown up in your direct, and this is the game Crystalla. I hope
Yeah,
I'm pronouncing that right, because this
Crystal.
doesn't look like an indie game. You know what I'm saying here? Like
Yeah.
this is is this really your guys's one of your guys' first forays into like a full like 3D like I I'm trying to think back
Uh,
to games that you guys have had where it's been this like sort of graphical style.
this is definitely a graphical leap for us. Yeah,
Yeah.
this is done in UE5. But this was another Kickstarter that we were part of. This happened in the summer, and we worked with them. And I'm very good friends with Astral Clock Tower Studios. I've been following them since they started. And when we were talking when they told me they were doing the Kickstarter, I said, "All right, you know what? We we need to start talking doing the physical." So we're doing the physical for PlayStation 5, and the Kickstarter was a rousing success. Did over 11 times its goal, and there's an exclusive physical Kickstarter version for PS5 that you can still get, even if you're just hearing about it now. There's a backer kit, so you can go to their backer kit and still purchase the PS5 version, the Kickstarter version of that. And we're really honored to be working with them. They are a amazing team, and they are small. This is their first game. This is not a AAA. This is an indie game, believe it or not. They are just very passionate about their product, and they are going 100% all in with Crystalla, and we are 100% behind them. And there's a demo if you're interested on Steam, you could get that. And yeah, I can't tell you when it's going to consoles. Obviously it's still in development, but the fact that it was successful and that we were able to highlight it in this direct for those that missed out on the Kickstarter, and that you can still grab the physical, is great. And we just want to be out there. We want to push the word for them because they're part of the
Yeah.
family now. They're very
Yeah.
talented and amazing people.
So is there going to be a physical for this one for the Switch?
We have nothing at the moment to announce about that, but all I could say is, anything's possible.
Ho 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 ho. Switch 2. Barry knows. No, I'm just kidding. um,
Anything's possible.
man, yeah,
Right now, there's a PS5 version.
yeah, it looks really good. And I'm looking forward to hearing more about that. Are there any other games that you want to highlight from the direct that are specifically coming to Switch? I kind of
There was one more.
all right. What did I miss? Because I'm like,
You missed. There was one extra tease at the very end. There was a tease where we gave a date to check out a brand new announcement on our YouTube, Premium Edition's YouTube channel. Did you check that announcement? It happened
I did
yesterday.
not. I did not. I did not.
Mm.
So I guess this will be a live reaction to me. I'm pulling it up right now. Uh,
Yeah, on our YouTube channel, there is a brand new trailer for a new game that's coming digitally later this month from our friends over at Modus, and will be coming physically on the Switch from Premium Edition games next year, 2024. Did you find the video?
I hope I'm looking at the right trailer. Am I looking at Gordian Quest?
Yes,
Okay.
Gordian
Oh
Quest.
yeah. I was like, oh, I'm looking at the right one. Yeah. Now I'm just engrossed watching the trailer. So a deck builder. Oh my goodness. I love these kinds of games, and
Me
this
too.
looks really pretty.
It is.
Oh my
This
goodness.
this is a deck building RPG that has multiple modes, including a 30 plus hour story mode, a roguelike mode where you could just play different experience every single time. It's got over 700 cards, bunch of different characters and classes, and it's incredible.
Yeah. The art style on this is gorgeous,
Hmm.
and so between the three game modes, I'm trying to get a feel for how this works. Do each of the characters in the party have their own deck, their own hand?
Uh, yes. They each character gets their own deck of cards.
That's
So
cool.
they're tailored to each class, and yeah, they're really cool because there's like kind of like build upon mechanics. You get like 3 moves per turn, and one of them could be like you move your character to a square, so like that takes it up. But some cards will build towards others, like you know play this in kind of like think of magic, like play a sorcery, play another sorcery, and then this one is does like say 5 damage, but it does an extra 10 damage for each sorcery you played this turn. So now it's like 25 damage because you did it that. So you have to like strategize as you're going through, and it works extremely well.
Wow, man, that's awesome. Um, well, if anybody out there is looking for this one, so what can you give us for news on time frame for the physical for this?
Physical will be 2024. Like I said, it is coming digitally this month, and for Modus, and we're not we already have a packed series, and two, we're not trying to step on any of our partners' toes, so we want to give them a shot to get their digital sales, and then we're going to come in with the physical afterwards. And at the same time, a lot of times when games first launch on a platform, maybe there's a bug fix here, a patch here, so we want to give it a little time to get optimized because we only played it on Steam. We haven't played the Switch version. So he played the Steam version. So hopefully, the transition to Switch excellent because it's excellent on Steam, and they get any bugs fixed out by the time the physical comes out. So we get content complete and bug free on the physical. So I
Yeah,
can't say when in 2024 right now because we don't know, but it 2024 uh, it will be it's going up for pre-order, and it is an incredible game, and I'm so happy to be working with Mixed Realms on it too. They're talented developers.
yeah, this looks fantastic. I mean, if you like the art style of maybe something like Hades, I'd say
Hmm. Yeah.
comparable ish to that, with the gameplay of something like Slay the Spire. Uh, like this seems just. I mean, I am very excited that I had this conversation with you because I probably would have missed this trailer. And this is like for sure a game I will be picking up. I'll probably
Yeah,
pick up
good.
digital, and then maybe I'll wait around for the physical to come out and get it again, because
Well,
these are my kind
you
of
better get
games.
the physical at least. Yeah, if you get
Yes.
one, you better be the physical.
Yep. Yep. Well, Barry, thank you so much for giving us kind of a rundown and kind of talking about the more details about these games. If anybody hasn't, I will have a link to the direct itself, so you can go through and watch the trailers of these. Don't skim it like I did. Watch it full. Give Barry the credit he deserves. Be a better friend than me. But Barry, I as we kind of close out the episode here, I want to give you a chance for people to hear from you. Plug yourself, your stuff. Where can people find you on the interwebs?
Sure, you can find me on Twitter or X, if you will, but I still prefer Twitter. Blue Sky, as well as Fuse over at Hawk Hellfire, same name for all 3 platforms. You could also find me on YouTube, youtube.com/NintendoFuse or nintendofuse.com for my other podcast that we do every other Monday night at 8:30 p.m. Eastern live. And that's a ton of fun. So definitely check us out there. We're on Twitch as well. And then, of course, premiumeditiongames.com, where not only can you pre order these great games for Series 7, you could also pick up some in stock items, in stock games from previous series that we have if you haven't checked them out. And also stay tuned during the entire fall. We're going to have second chance sales for Series 5 and some other surprises that we haven't talked about yet. So check that out. And you can follow us on Twitter or X at Premium Edition 1 and everywhere else at Premium Edition Games.
Excellent. Yeah, I've been calling it X Twitter because it fits for for it. It used to be called Twitter, and it's now called X.
No X.
Yeah, everybody should go check out Barry's work. It's fantastic stuff. I mean, and Barry is a huge Nintendo fan. I mean, who else do you? You don't know. I don't know too many people that own a Virtual Boy. I mean, for those watching the video version of the cast, you've seen it sitting back there. Yeah, this man gave me the tour of New York and the Nintendo store, the rundown. I learned that I got the not as good experience because they changed everything before I got there.
Yeah, and now we know why, because they're doing that Nintendo Museum. So
Yep.
you know.
Now we all got to go to
why.
Japan to get to see all the cool stuff. But thanks again so much for coming on, Barry. And to anybody that wants to check out my stuff on the interwebs, I'll plug me here, Andros1 on YouTube and Twitch. And you can also follow the show, Nintendo Pals, on all the platforms. Search Nintendo Pals, you'll find us. Thanks again to everybody for listening and for Barry for coming on as a guest. And we'll close out the episode here. Bye-bye.
Have a good one.